Greetings and felicitations. Hip hip hurrah, and yes, Mr. Spock, it is pronounced tally ho. Welcome everyone to the Sunday edition of Mr. Lundell's Groovy Movies. This is the laid back version where we just pick a topic and we discuss it. We give you a little bit of information about some things. Some of it is weird, some of it is actual factual stuff, but most of it is just myth and legend. Joining me as usual, my guest, the hostess, the lady herself, soon to be OBE. Make that happen. I'm sure we can. Words. Yvette.
Good evening, Mr. Lundell, and good evening, everyone in the chat. Wow, great to see you all. And I made it through the two movies last night, amazingly.
We all did.
Yeah. So, hi, Curtis, who's lurking. LDG, hi. What we got? Oh, words and pictures. Yes, we got plans later this evening to go dig up some graves. Shouldn't have said that out loud. Yeah. So we're doing Lost Treasures, which was actually Words and Pictures' idea. So,
yes, it was.
Yeah. So I'm doing Great Britain, Europe, and a few of the lost items in the Bible. And Mr. Lundell has America to play with.
Sort of, kind of. The Americas.
The Americas, yeah.
Because we're going to start with a couple of, at least one pirate. Or privateer may be the better term for him. And we've got a couple of things like Oak Island. I think it was Edwin Teach was supposedly buried his treasure at Oak Island. And then you've got the Lost Dutchmans Mine.
Wow.
Which, people are actually out in the damn desert looking for that bad boy.
Well, I can believe it. Absolutely. I'm really looking forward to hearing these American stories because I know nothing about treasure anyway. So I've learned a lot about my own country and Europe. And I'm looking forward to hearing the American ones. Hey, Connie, welcome.
Hello, Connie Cleary. Glad you could make it. Sit back, relax, and I guess you can listen to some treasure hunting stories.
And hopefully you might get some ideas on how to find them through these and go off on an adventure and come back and tell us you're a billionaire. And here's a £10 super chat. Thank you very much for pointing me in the right direction.
Yeah, but actually, here's the thing about that. A lot of those treasures and so forth, the stories, and people are, hunting them. In a lot of cases, they think people have got getting close. Politicians have jumped in and passed laws where you find this, we're gonna take 2/3 of it, or we're gonna take it all. So I've heard and seen stuff like that. So it wouldn't really be worth your while to find this stuff.
Oh, don't be such a downer.
Well, it's true. I mean, so anyhow, I guess I'll start.
Okie dokie. I'm going to sit back and relax.
Going to go back and forth a little bit. So we'll start with The guy, a friend of mine, I mean, probably, maybe not, but he's Jean Lafitte, born around 1780, died around 1825. To most of the world, he was a pirate. To the early United States, especially around the War of 1812, he was a privateer and kind of a good guy. He was a privateer and smuggler. He interrupted his illicit adventures to fight for the United States in defense of New Orleans in the War of 1812. We don't know a whole lot about his early life, but around 1809, he and his brother Pierre had established in New Orleans a blacksmith shop where that served as a depot for the smuggled goods and slaves that he had brought, that he had brought from other privateers. And from around 1814, from 1810 to 1814, he formed. It was a group that formed a nucleus for Lafitte's colony on a secluded group of islands around Louisiana called Barataria Bay. It's like south of New Orleans. He held a privateer commission from Cartagena in Colombia today. And Lafitte's group would prey on Spanish commerce, illegally disposing of anything through some connections he had on the mainland. Now, Barataria Bay was an important approach to New Orleans. So the British actually approached him during the War of 1812 and bribed him with $30,000 and a captaincy in the Royal Navy to swear allegiance to the British. He pretended to cooperate and warned officials in Louisiana about the, that the British were going to attack New Orleans. But instead of believing him, the governor of Louisiana at the time summoned U.S. Army troops and Navy to wipe out Barataria Bay. And Lafitte actually lost some ships there. They were captured by the U.S., not destroyed. But still, protesting his loyalty to the U.S., he offered aid to the hard-pressed forces of General Andrew Jackson in defense of New Orleans. He actually brought them supplies, did some scouting, stuff like that. And for that, in return for that, he wanted a full pardon, which General Jackson agreed to. The Battle of New Orleans, December 1814, January 1815, the Baratarians, as Lafitte and his men became known, fought with distinction. Jackson personally commended Lafitte as one of the ablest men of the battle, and James Madison issued a public proclamation for a pardon for the group. Nevertheless, after the war, the pirate returned to his old ways, and in 1817, with nearly 1,000 followers, organized a commune called Campeche on the island of the future, on the island of Galveston, right down the road from down the state from me on the Gulf here in Texas. He served. He was governor there for a short time, and he continued privateering from this depot, pri- privateering the Spanish, and his men were commonly acknowledged as pirates. When several of his lieutenants attacked U.S. ships in 1820, official pressure was brought to bear on the operation. As a consequence, the following year, Lafitte suddenly picked a crew to man his favorite vessel, the Pride, burned down the town, and sailed away, apparently continuing his depredations along the coast of Spanish America for several more years. Now we get to the good part. There are many legends and stories surrounding what happened to a treasure of silver that Lafitte supposedly had on Galveston Island. Stories include him burying it in various locations in the Gulf Coast. Some believe Lafitte buried the treasure in the Sabine River, near East Texas, while others claim that he hid it on Galveston Island, where he had established a smuggling operation. One story even suggested that Lafitte and his crew marked the location of the buried treasure with 3 young trees, but that a hurricane in 1823 wiped out any trace of the trees, making it impossible to find the treasure. Another legend claims Lafitte faked his death, moved to North Carolina, taking his treasure with him. Despite the numerous searches over the years, no one has been able to definitely locate Lafitte's lost treasure, making it one of the most enduring mysteries in American history. Now, I've seen this movie at least once in distant memory when I was a kid, but Yul Brynner played Jean Lafitte in a 1958 film, The Buccaneer. I'm looking high and low for that movie. It's going to be a groovy movie. So, and the film was highly fictionalized about Lafitte's account and his role in the Battle of New Orleans. But Brenner's portrayal of the infamous privateer was nonetheless memorable and iconic, like most of Yul Brynner's parts were. So, and then I have known, I've seen like news reports of some people, you know, that years ago that had been looking for Lafitte's treasure. And I was a kid and I'm like, whoa, don't find it. I want to find it when I grow up. But that's just one of the tales out there is after so long, I mean, I'm beginning to think there's nothing to it. You got to ask yourself, why would he bury it and then leave it when they ran him out of Galveston?
Hello, Christy.
Yes. Hello, Christy. How you doing? Yes, and we'd all love to find some lost treasure.
Mm.
Yeah, most of it has been found, and when you find it, the government takes a big chunk of.
Not here.
Oh, they sit around and wait for you to find stuff in this country. Yeah, they you know it's theirs. The
Mm.
IRS.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
okay.
That was fascinating.
Yeah.
Again, I have no idea of the people you're talking about, but the privateers I know a lot about because Queen Elizabeth I actually hired mercenaries and named them privateers.
Yeah.
Originally, to go steal all the gold off the Spanish ships that were moored in the Americas.
Yeah. Hello, Resolute.
Hey, Resolute. Good to see you.
It's important that you make a distinction between a pirate and a privateer.
Indeed, yes.
Yeah,
The privateers were working for people, weren't they?
A privateer was basically a mercenary.
Mm.
Cut a deal with one side or the other, and a fifth of whatever you got your hands on was the property. The royal fifth,
Yep.
as they call it. 1/5 of it was the government's. The rest of it was yours.
Yep.
But piracy was something different. It was pirates were out there just stealing.
Yeah,
basically.
A lot were mercenaries or privateers that decided to go rogue. I know that from my side, because Elizabeth lost a lot of gold to a load of mercenaries that decided, you know what, I think I'm going to keep this.
Yeah.
I can understand it, the amount of gold they stole. And that's where the pirate came from.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
fascinating.
piracy was probably an even older profession,
Yeah, but the word pirate, it comes from privateer. So, yeah, interesting. Very interesting. Do you want me to do one?
Yeah, you want to give my voice a rest.
Sure. All right. I'm going to share the usual pictures. Give me a second. Do, and do. Okay, tell me when you can see. I can't see the chat now. Have we got King John up?
Yeah, you got to pick
okay. So this is the one that words named as the only help for me. The crown jewels of King John, 1216 AD, so in the 11th century. The crown jewels of King John were lost when his baggage train was engulfed by the tidal mudflats of the Wash in East Anglia, and they've never ever been recovered. Many, many divers have been down there and are still going to this day to try and find them. These are replicas of what was lost. Look at that crown. Very different to the crown. But the scepter and the big bull, as I call it, it's very similar to what we
is
have now.
that? What is the proper? You don't know the proper name for that? The ball?
I can't remember. Words, do your thing for me, please. Well, because I can't get to my computer because I'm sharing it.
Oh.
He'll come up. It has. It's the scepter, the crown, and the dead brain. I should know it. Shame on me.
Words. No, I don't have capture software. I'll have to look into stuff like that. So.
There we are. Blew it up a bit.
Orb, I think.
Orb. That's it. Thank you. All right. So my second great British lost treasure. Let me just blow that up. Is the lost treasures of the Knights Templar, 13th century. The date 1307. After the arrest of the Knights Templar by King Philippe IV of France, it is believed that the order's vast wealth was hidden or transported away. The location of this treasure has never been found and remains one of the great mysteries in history. It is rumoured that a vast treasure trove, including gold, silver, and sacred relics, was hidden in Britain in Britain. Its location still remains a mystery, though. So, yeah. And that would be one of the coins. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the
Of the
Templar.
the Knights Templars. Yes, so it might be here words. That might be our first one we should do. And yeah, the next one I think you'll find quite interesting.
Yeah. Now, but real quick, the Templar thing, I think I've seen a lot about the Templars and the massive treasure they supposedly had. I think it ended up in Switzerland.
Yeah,
Because
I would put money on it's in the Vatican basement.
no, they were all pissed at the Vatican at the time.
Oh, were they?
Because there's a historical story about the that part of Europe where that's now Switzerland that was just like a wild place, there was no sovereign or anything, and somebody wanted to invade it with an army, and all of a sudden they tried it, and all of a sudden they ran up on these guys that were schooled in warfare
Oh yeah,
and they beat them back. That sounds like a group of knights,
yeah,
Templar knights. And
definitely,
that's one thing they were known for. They were skilled warriors.
absolutely.
They were rich too.
Oh
So
yeah,
they may have moved into that area, and that's why all of a sudden Switzerland became the banking mecca that it is. That's where
possibly.
all the gold and everything went.
However, I'm gonna go with it could be hidden in Britain. So yeah, one of the many rumors. So, but this one's very interesting. The jewels of Mary Queen of Scots, 16th century. Mary Queen of Scots is said to have hidden. Now she was the first daughter of King Henry VIII, and was, well, the only word I can use is bastardized, because her mother, she was divorced from King Henry VIII. So that made Queen Elizabeth I, who was Anne Boleyn's daughter, next in line, although it didn't work out that way either. Anyway, Mary Queen of Scots is said to have hidden her jewels before her execution. These valuable items, including a famous ruby necklace, have never been found. I don't know if I got a... Yeah, I got a shot. Hang on. Let me... So these are replicas again of what she hid. Now, she would have been in the Tower of London, so the only way she would have got it out would be by paying one of the guards, which would have been a risky business because he would have run off with it more than likely. Or there's a stone she hacked away, removed, hid the jewels behind it, and put the stone back. You never know. But Elizabeth I very reluctantly had to have her head chopped off. And to be perfectly frank, Mary Queen of Scots, who is better known as Bloody Mary, who killed more people than any other monarch at the time, and to this day still holds many records, deserved the losing of the head.
Okay, now I'm confused because there were two Marys. Her sister, who
No,
was married.
yeah,
You remember
that
her
was Mary
sister
Queen of Scots.
that married the Spanish king.
Yes, and then took over to Scotland. It's the same one.
But okay,
Yeah,
but she died.
yes, she did.
Okay, but then the second one that was beheaded. Okay, she was from Scotland.
Yeah, Mary Queen of Scots. She was,
Okay.
as I say, the first daughter of King Henry VIII. Then he divorced his wife. Well, he wanted to divorce his wife. This is how the Church of England came along, because the Pope said no. Of course, it's now known as the Community of England, because Keir Starmer's a nut job. I really don't want to get arrested, but hey ho. Anyway, so yeah, she was Bloody Mary. She was Catholic, and Elizabeth was Protestant, and Mary basically sent out everyone, all her troops, to kill all Catholics and steal, all Protestants, and to take all their goods and everything. And many a Protestant died, thousands and thousands. So I have little sympathy for her. But of course, when Elizabeth I took the throne, of course, this was that Edward was before the two of them, because he did have a son who lived to be 9. So, and then he died of illness. So it was a quick reign, and he was very young. And of course, the council actually ran the kingdom. But yeah, Elizabeth I turned it back into a Protestant nation, and decided, after what Mary had done, Catholics were no longer welcome. And pretty much the same thing happened, but the other way around. So there you go. Anyway, the next one. We've got a ship here. Beautiful ship. Okay. The Silver of the Elusive Merchant Royal, 1641. So this is the 17th century. The Merchant Royal, known as the El Dorado of the seas, sank off Cornwall. Now, we all know about Cornwall. That's where all our witches and elves and fairies and everything live. Carrying a fortune in silver and gold. The wreck was never located. Again, this is another one of Cornwall. They are still to this day diving down to try and find it. And yeah, there you go. That's an imaginary picture of what you'd expect out of a nice chest. I like that picture. It looked really cool. And we've got a nice looking sword there. Right. The next one is another ship. Of course, we're an island. The Lost Treasure of the HMS Lutine, 1799. So 18th century just. The HMS Lutine, British warship, sank off the coast of the Netherlands, carrying gold and silver bullion. Only a fraction has been recovered. The rest still lost at sea. But at least they found some of it. And here we go. Here's some of the stuff they've brought up from the dive. Cool. So, yeah. But so far, the gold and silver, most of it is still missing. Yeah. So, our next one is, what a surprise, another ship. Look at that beautiful ship. So this is the gold bullion of the RMS Laurenetic, 1917. The RMS Laurenetic was sunk by a German U-boat during World War I while carrying gold bullion. Some of it has been recovered, but millions of pounds worth of gold still again remain missing. And again, to this day, divers are going down looking for it because it's there somewhere. And they had all of these shipwrecks, once they're located, you have a better chance of finding these things. Here we go.
Why haven't they marked it as a grave?
Well, yes, certainly as well. But
it went down in wartime, and usually
absolutely
stuff
Yeah.
that goes down in wartime, they mark it as a grave, and
Yep.
so it's illegal to plunder it.
Well, unless you get permission. But yeah, there you go. There's one of the divers at the site looking at some of the curled up ropes. And our next one, oh, you're going to like this. You may recognize it. Sorry, it's not that clear, this one.
Louis.
The Amber Room of
Yeah.
the Zarkoi Cello, World War II era, 1941 to 1945. Although originally from Russia, the Amber Room was looted by Nazi Germany during World War II, and was last reported in Königsberg, but its current whereabouts are unknown. Some theories suggest it is hidden here in Great Britain. So let's see what the other picture is. Probably a better picture. This place was lined with gold, and the room is empty, but it wasn't. It was stacked with unbelievable treasures and jewels and gold and silver and platinum and you name it. So yeah, that's my Great Britain collection. As I said, I've done a few for Britain, a few for Europe, and a couple for, classic Bible ones.
43 tons of gold bars, no doubt wins the argument, according to words and pictures.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, let's
so
move.
There is, being on an island, sorry, Mr. Londo, being on an island, the amount of loot that was lost at sea, especially around the rocky areas of our country, is exceptionally high. And it's down there somewhere. So, and there are people every day do it for a living.
And so if you find, it's finders keepers in England, huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, so well, okay, let's move. Okay, Tim, that's a good point. Stop putting that shit on boats.
Well, in those days they had nothing else. Hey, Dandelion.
Dandelion. So let's move way north of me, around Nova Scotia. The Oak Island Mystery. The Oak Island Mystery is a series of stories and legends concerning buried treasure and unexplained objects found on or near Oak Island in Nova Scotia. Since the 18th century, attempts have been made to find treasure and artifacts. Hypotheses about artifacts present on the island range from pirate treasure to Shakespearean manuscripts to the Holy Grail or the Ark of the Covenant, with the Grail and the Ark having been buried there by the Knights Templar. Notice how they get weaved into the story. Various themes have surfaced over the years that were found on the island. Various items. Oh, what the hell am I reading? Have various items have surfaced over the years that were found on the island, some of which have since been dated to be hundreds of years old. Although these items can be considered treasure in their own right, no significant main treasure site has ever been found. The site consists of digs by numerous individuals and groups of people. The original shaft, the location of which is known today, was dug by early explorers and is known as the Money Pit. Now, if you've ever watched The History Channel series Curse of Oak Island, they they go into a lot of this. That it does look like, according to this show, there's some serious engineering that had been going on. Like when the tide comes in, the water in that pit goes up. It's up and down with the tide. They poured dye into the pit, into the money pit, and you can see at points where, as the tide goes out, the dye goes with it, and they marked where there are like tunnels that play with the water levels, and they drill down, and they'll find sand, and then they'll find like straw and wood and all different, in the drill samples that the core samples they bring up. It is it's tempting to think something is there, but so many people have been digging for so many years, so many times, and nobody's found it. So I don't know. Now, early accounts from the 1790s to 1857. Very little verified information is known about the early treasure related activities on Oak Island. Thus, the following accounts are word of mouth stories, reportedly going back to the late 18th century. It wasn't until decades later that publishers began to pay attention to such activity and investigated the stories involved. The earliest known story of a treasure found by a settler named Daniel McGinnis appeared in print in 1857. It then took another 5 years before one of the alleged original diggers gave a statement regarding the original story along with subsequent Onslow and Turo Company activities. Okay. In 1802, a group known as the Onslow Company allegedly sailed from central Nova Scotia to Oak Island to recover what they believed to be hidden treasure. They continued the excavation down to about 90 feet, with layers of logs or marks found at every 10 feet, and also discovered layers of charcoal, putty, coconut fiber, along with a large stone, inscribed with symbols. And it goes on about how they dug boreholes and all of this. All they found, everybody's finding like the logs and the coconut fiber. And I think like in one core sample there was like a piece of a gold chain, or it's not. Uh, I don't think anything. You know, impressive. They've tried. Recently they've tried to sit down divers, but you can only go so far, and then it's just murky black, and it's too dangerous. Okay, let me see. This is the most. Okay, yeah, Michigan, the Michigan tour to 2005 to present. That's the two brothers in the show Curse of Oak Island. It was announced in April 2006 that brothers Rick and Marty Lagina of Michigan had purchased 50% of Oak Island tours from David Tobias for an undisclosed sum. The rest of the company is owned by Blankenship Center Road Developments. Okay, well, it doesn't get into, but these brothers, they've been digging like crazy there on the TV show. So far, nothing. So, and then there is like I said earlier, a stone with supposed markings on it that nobody can read. It's supposed to be a code. You know, it's crazy. I look at these guys spending this money, and then I laugh, but then I say, well, that's why some people are rich. They take the gamble. They take the chance. So I can't I can't blame. Yes,
They must
word.
have some really good proof, though, to undertake something like that.
I don't know. I mean, it's the only thing they talk about is like the stuff I dug up, with some of which I read. You know,
Hmm.
so
Well, I hope they find it.
I don't think there's anything there. If it was, somebody's already got it and pocketed it and just gone. You got to remember that some people, like me personally, if I were to find one of those treasures, I would not, spout off about it. I really would. There's the tax liability and like it was one treasure. They I can't remember. It was a ship that went down. Some guys found it, and it happened like in the 19th century. So you had it was lots of gold and stuff on the ship, and so you had all that stuff was insured. The insurance companies came after when the guys that found this ship. The insurance companies came after. The governments came after. The damn ancestors of the people that were on the ship came after. It's not worth it to announce this, at least here in the
Yeah,
U.S.
you should have kept my mouth shut and just
Yeah,
disappeared somewhere where
yeah,
they can't touch you. That's a bit moronic. Sorry.
yeah. I mean, and see, yeah, Resolute got it right. Those boys will be okay. They made tons on that. Yeah, they did. They had to make money on that TV show.
Ah,
So
well, that's good to hear.
okay,
Interesting. Uh, you want me to do my next one?
uh,
Or you got
yeah,
another one?
go ahead,
Yeah?
and then I can I'll do probably a little bit more on Oak Island.
Yeah,
They
absolutely. Oh,
they didn't do well. Supposedly, Edwin Teach's stash is Blackbeard. Okay, his stash is supposed to be there. Well,
I
that's
don't
the
mind if you want to carry on.
no. Go ahead. Huh?
You sure? All right.
Voice
Okay.
rest.
Yep. I'm just sharing the screen again. Boom, boom, boom. And tell me when you can see this picture,
Yeah, we got
which
it.
isn't brilliantly clear. But let me. No, you see, I can't win. The lost gold. This is covers Europe, because there isn't that. I mean, England has a lot of lost treasure from ships, but I wasn't going to go through them all because they're pretty much all the same story. So, I wanted to look at Europe. The lost gold of the Varangians, I think it's pronounced, 9th century. The Varangians, Viking warriors who served as mercenaries in the Byzantine Empire, were rumored to have amassed a great wealth of gold. Much of this treasure disappeared after the Varangian Guards' influence waned and its locations remain unknown. There we go, and that's a sort of a drawing of. I think it's a drawing of that. No, this is the next one. Sorry, just hang on. Yeah, that the remains are unknown. I don't have that much on any of this because this is literally the only information we have. Right, the menorah from the Second Temple, 70 AD. After the Romans sacked Jerusalem, the menorah from the Second Temple was taken to Rome. It was reportedly lost or hidden following the fall of the Western Roman Empire, possibly during the Vandal sack of Rome in 455 AD. Its location remains a mystery, and that's the main thing, and that's the other thing. It's not a huge pile of gold, but yeah, both of those are missing. Oh, the next one everyone's going to be fascinated with. Trust me. Oh, there you go. There's a picture they drew into the wall of it being stolen. That looks like a camera. Yeah. Yeah. All right. This one you're going to find fascinating. Oh, whoops. Right. Nazi gold train, World War II era.
Yeah.
Date 1945. Near the end of World War II, a train filled with gold, jewels, and other valuables is believed to have been hidden by the Nazis in a tunnel in Poland. Despite numerous searches, the train and its treasure have never been found. Now, interestingly, this is a photo of a tunnel they located, and they got super excited. I think, yeah, that's the sort of train that was pulling it. But they do believe the train was driven into this tunnel and sealed in. Did I do 3 on this? There you go. It was full of things like that. So, yeah, it's just unbelievable. And following on from that is the Lost Treasure of Rommel, again, 1944. According to Rommel, ROMMEL, the Rommel.
Yeah, Rommel, Aaron Rommel, one of the best generals.
Yeah. So, according to the legend, Nazi general Erwin Rommel buried a cache of gold and other valuables in the mountains of Corsica or Tunisia before his defeat. The treasure, often referred to as Rommel's gold, again has never been located. I mean, Corsica and Tunisia are pretty... Oh, hello, Chuck. You want me to throw this ball? Whee! There you go. Yeah, has never been located. So that's Europe for you. As I say, there's not as much treasure as you'd think there would be floating around. But I expect more stories sort of from America than we have here. Yeah, but fascinating. I mean, the whole thing with the Germans, obviously, is that they hit a lot of shit.
Oh, they were some plundering bastards.
Yeah, and Hitler himself was absolutely insanely collectible of religious artifacts. Well, he really was.
It wasn't just him. Actually, I would put a lot of that on Himmler.
Yeah,
he was. I mean, he was. What happens when a nerd goes nuts?
Yeah.
Because I mean, he wanted like the story of the Knights of the Round Table to be Teutonic so bad, and he sent out archaeologists to prove all of this crazy stuff.
Well, yeah, I remember at school, because we do the Arthurian legend, and they do bring up the fact that the Nazis actually went hunting for Camelot and the Round
Yeah.
Table and Excalibur, and
Uh-huh.
yeah, barking mad.
So,
So,
so
yeah, you're up again.
okay, Arizona's Lost Dutchman's Mine. Okay, the Superstition Mountains in Arizona cover about 160,000 acres of desolate, rugged terrain.
Are they actually called Superstitious Mountains?
Superstition Mountains.
Superstition Mountain. Oh my
Yeah.
god. Couldn't come up with a better name for a mountain.
I don't know. According to legend, somewhere hidden in these mountains lie the richest deposits of gold in America, the Lost Dutchman's Mine. The exact location of the Lost Dutchman's Mine remains a mystery. It was supposedly discovered by a German prospector named Jacob Waltz in 1876. Today, the lost gold would be worth over $200 million. According to historian Tom Cullenborn, the Superstition Mountains were an unlikely place to strike it rich. Jacob Waltz was a student of mining and he knew what he was doing. The old timers were very, very astute to the fact of geology. They knew what they were looking for. If you're going to go out in these mountains anywhere and look for gold, you really want to go places where it has been found. Superstitions would be an exception. You wouldn't go in there. End quote. But Waltz didn't prospect in those rugged mountains, and apparently he was rewarded. But Waltz did prospect in those rugged mountains, and apparently he was rewarded. When Waltz was 80 years old, he decided to hide his mine to protect it. He dug a hole 6 feet deep at its entrance, then laid in 2 rows of logs and topped them with dirt and stone. Waltz, who was nicknamed the Dutchman, bragged that you could drive a pack train over the entrance to the mine and never know it was there. Several months later, after Waltz closed up the mine, he got pneumonia and was taken to the home of his friend Julia Thomas, who's an African American woman. According to Clay Worst, a member of the Superstition Mountain Historical Society, it was on his deathbed that Waltz revealed he had gold from the mine stashed under his bed. And he said, quoting, "That's what I've been living on all these years." They took out the box, they opened it, and their comment was, "God, that's rich." He said, "It's a vein." He said, "There's enough in sight to make millionaires out of 20 men." End quote. As his end drew near, the Dutchman gave Julia and a local miner, Reinhard Petrarch, clues to the mine's location. But Waltz died before he could give them a map that showed exactly where the mine lay. According to Clay Worst, the only directions Julia and Petrarch had when they ventured into the mountains were the verbal clues Waltz had given them on his deathbed. Quote, he said, "The setting sun shines into the entrance to my mind and glitters on the gold. So it must have faced the west." He said, "You take the first gorge to the south side from the west end of the range. He
Can you
said,
slow down? I'm writing this down.
"Oh, okay, okay." He said that you can see Weaver's Needle to the south from above my mine. Julia and Patrick were so anxious to get in the mountains. They actually went in midsummer when the mountains were hotter, and it must have been a real ordeal for them. That just sounded feverish, you know.
But with our technology today,
Yeah,
we could use satellites and God knows what to locate that.
I'm
Why?
I'm
Why
thinking
haven't they done that?
I'm thinking somebody has.
Yeah, probably found it and legged it off to a nice island.
I know. Julia invested everything she owned into the expedition, but she returned penniless and never attempted to return to the Superstition Mountains. Reinhardt continued to search for the mine for the next 50 years, but when he realized he would never find it, he took his own life. Almost 100 years.
Wow, that's so sad.
Yeah, well, almost 100 years later, modern day treasure hunter claimed that he found the mine. His name was Walt Gassler, using clues handed down from Jacob's deathbed description. Gassler had spent most of his free time looking for the legendary mine, but when his health began to fail, Walt contacted two other prospectors. One was Bob Corbin, who was the Attorney General of Arizona. Here's another quote. He wanted to get it together with me. He wanted to get together with me so that we could perhaps go with him and continue looking for the mine and with his directions after he had died. And he gave me his notes as well as a map as to where his camp was and where he believes the mine to be. End quote. 2 months later, Gassler called Bob's partner, Tom Collenborn, a local historian. According to Collenborn, Gassler claimed that he had finally located the Dutchman's Mine. Gassler was convinced that the mine existed from the clues that he had. Some of those clues he would not reveal, and the next morning his wife took him out to the trailhead and dropped him off. Walt hiked along the superstitions, never to be seen alive again. 3 days later, his body was found by a ranch hand, Don Shade. An autopsy proved he had died of a heart attack. Then, 1 month after Walt's death, Tom Collenborn had a surprising visitor. He said he was Roland Gassler, Walt Gassler's son. And yes, well, my dad found the Mount Lost Dutchman in the superstitions, and he got out this gold and showed it. It looked very similar to the gold that allegedly came out of the Lost Dutchman's mine. Okay.
So someone actually found it then.
No, it's still a legend.
Ah,
In fact, what was it? Unsolved Mysteries. I don't know how many people are familiar with that old show. They did some stuff on it, and Oh, you can watch this on Prime,
Ah,
and it's probably on YouTube as well.
mm.
I gotta
Da-
look later.
Dandelion did a bit of research, and so did Words. I don't know if you want to read them because,
Yeah, okay.
yeah,
Uh, According to Words, the superstition mountains are the result of intensive volcanic activity. So it is very likely there are potholing tunnels, caves, and caverns with collapsed blockages. So it could be there. Yeah,
there'd be lava tubes as well if it's that
yeah.
volcanic. And
And
yeah, Dandelion said she just checked the mountains on the map, and they look pretty desolate.
it's a fucking desert. Okay. Yeah, but I will say there were like gold and silver booms in Arizona, New Mexico, like the town Tombstone.
Oh yes,
You
yeah.
know that was like a silver strike. That's why that town came up.
Well, there's lots of ghost towns. I've seen quite lots of
Yeah,
documentaries on these little towns that are tourist towns now,
yeah,
where the miners were, and there was always a bar and a brothel upstairs and things like that. Very interesting. I'd love to go visit these places. You know, get to feel the atmosphere of it. But yeah, hundreds of these little places all dotted around
yeah.
America from the gold rush. Yeah, yeah, fascinating. I gotta say though, Superstition Mountains, really,
That's
I
the
can't
name of.
even. I know, but why would anyone name them that?
Why not?
Well, superstition. I mean, it kind of put you off going. Maybe they named it that to stop
Oh,
people going on it. Hmm. I've got my last couple. If you want me to do them next.
yeah. Go ahead.
Yep. Okay. Let me get my little pictures up. Let me know when you can see it.
Okay. Yeah, it's up. It's up. It's up.
All right. Okay, this is an artist's rendition of what they thought the Ark of the Covenant looked like. Now, of course, we've got different versions of it. And, of course, this one's the famous one from Indiana Jones. So, the Ark of the Covenant, which was 587 BC or even earlier, it contained the stone tablets of the Ten Commandments. The other 5 got dropped. You'll get that if you know what I'm talking about. Aaron's rod and a pot of manna was housed in the Temple of Solomon. It went missing after the Babylonian conquest of Jerusalem in 587 BC. Its fate and location have been a subject of speculation and mystery ever since. So, the Ark of the Covenant, believed to be a gold-covered wooden chest containing the stone tablets. Theories and rumors suggest different locations. So we've got Ethiopia. One of the most persistent legends is that the Ark is kept in a Church of Our Lady Mary of Zion in Axum, Ethiopia. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church claims to have had the Ark for centuries, but it is guarded by a single monk and no one else is allowed to see it. I'm sorry, but if the Ark is in there, you pick the monk up and move it aside and open it.
No,
Right.
you don't.
Well, okay. Temple Mount, Jerusalem. This is the second theory. Some believe that the Ark is hidden beneath Temple Mount in Jerusalem. Excavations and searches have been limited due to religious sensitivity of the site. Third one, Southern Africa. The Lemba people of African ethnic group of Zimbabwe and South Africa claim descent from the ancient Israelites and believe they carried the ark to Africa. They have a sacred object, the Ngoma Lungundu, which some speculate could be a replica of the ark. Oh my God. Now we got France. Really? There are theories that the ark was hidden in France during the Crusades, possibly by the Knights Templar, and may be buried somewhere in the Languedoc region or even the Pyrenees. And the final rumor, Jordan. Some legends suggest the ark might have been hidden in a cave near Mount Nebo in Jordan, where Moses was said to have seen the promised land. There we are. The next one, I've got a couple of pictures of this because I happen to know, due to the very good TV show Supernatural, I recommend everyone should watch it, that the golden calf was smashed into bits. Some believe God did it, some believe the people did it. But the golden calf is circa 13th century BC. The golden calf was an idol made by the Israelites during the Exodus. Moses destroyed it. But the gold may have been buried or lost afterwards. There is no record of what happened to the remnants and the making of its lost treasure. Right, the next one. Interesting, I didn't know anything about this. The lost silver of Judas Iscariot, 30 AD. The 30 pieces of silver paid to Judas Iscariot for betraying Jesus were later thrown into the temple by Judas before his death. The priests used the money to buy the potter's field, but the original coins themselves have never been located. However, in recent times, one was located, and that's it.
Okay, how do they know that's one of the coins?
I don't know. I'm no expert on treasure. I told you that. Right. Finally, the last thing on my list, and if you can't guess what I'm going to talk about, the Holy Grail.
That is. Well, go ahead, do you? And then
I've got lots of pictures of the Holy Grail. How different people see it. 1st century AD. The Holy Grail, often believed to be the cup used by Jesus at the Last Supper, is a legendary treasure said to possess miraculous powers. Its true location, if it ever existed, has never been discovered, despite numerous quests throughout history. The Holy Grail, thought to be the cup used by I'm getting double. Possibly the chalice that caught his blood at the crucifixion, is surrounded by even more varied legends. Spain. Oh, let me change the picture. There we go. There's another one. Valencia Cathedral in Spain claims to have the Holy Grail, known as the Chalice of Valencia. This artifact has been venerated since medieval times, and some scholars believe it could be the real Grail. Scotland. Let me change the picture. There's another one. Rosalind Chapel in Scotland is often linked to the Grail due to its mysterious carvings and connections with the Knights Templar. Some legends suggest that the Grail might be hidden there. Okay. Glastonbury. It gets brought out every year and passed around so everyone can take a sip, so they stay young and can take LSD forever. Right, Glastonbury. Oh, if you don't know what Glastonbury is, it's a huge festival that's been going on for decades in a field that gets very muddy. And we're talking 50, 60, 70,000 people. It's a big field. Anyway, Glastonbury is steeped in Arthurian legend. Yes, it is. And some believe that the Grail was brought here by Joseph of Arimathea. The chalice well in Glastonbury is often associated with the Grail. I didn't know that. And Montségur, France. France has to get in everywhere, doesn't it? The Cathars, a medieval Christian sect in southern France, are sometimes linked to the Grail. Montségur, a fortress in the Pyrenees, is rumoured to have been the last refuge of the Grail before the Cathars were exterminated. And the last rumour, Wolfram von... I'm gonna absolutely butcher this. Eschenbach Parzival. In this medieval German epic, the Grail is described as a stone, and the story places it in a mystical castle guarded by knights. Some interpret this as an allegorical reference to its hidden location. And that's it. There we go, guys. That's my contribution to Lost Treasures.
Okay, this Grail. Okay, it's first. It nothing ever about a Grail shows up until that monk, the French guy, starts writing the Arthurian legends, the tales.
Because Arthur went on a very, very long journey with his knights to try and find it.
And that's where it comes up.
Yeah.
So this is not a real thing.
Well, I like to think the Arthurian legends are steeped in legend, myth, and a little bit of truth.
Not really. You have to know why those stories came about.
Of course I do. Yeah, you knew someone who was taught Arthurian legend at school. We were taught it.
Because
it's so important.
You had guys that were, trained fighters, armed to the teeth. Okay, and they would roam the countryside. A lot of them, and they took what they wanted: food, wine, women, whatever they want. They would just take it, and the average person really could not, defend themselves. And so what those stories of Arthur, knights, that's what brought about chivalry, because those stories were meant to teach you as a knight how, your station in society, your importance to a community, and you're stronger than everyone. You're there to defend and protect them. You're not there to bully them. That's where
it's absolutely, it's about being the best you can be, and being proud. God, we've lost that in this country. Being proud of the flag and being proud of, serving King Arthur, and loyalty, and the story. There's loyalty and there's betrayal. Oh, did you lost your treasure? Please tell me you didn't accidentally chop it off. Or was it a really cold bath and it just kind of went away for a while? Sorry.
Maybe it snapped off in December. But no, but I mean, people, stuff like that, people have just taken it totally to the extreme. Like
Oh yeah,
like
absolutely.
the Dan Brown books. They take that
Oh
Holy
yeah,
Grail and
yeah.
turn it into Jesus married Mary Magdalene, and
And
they
then
had
found
a daughter,
a
and
girl that
yeah,
was
and they were like,
directly linked. Yeah,
they
I know.
ended up being French royalty,
Mm,
all of this. So
yeah,
it it became
they were
kind
very good books to read. Don't get me wrong. I quite like the books.
yeah, but I mean,
They were very. You got drawn into it all very easily, but
yeah,
you have to remember this is fiction. You
yeah.
know, very
No, but
very well written fiction, but still fiction.
see, but showing how crazy people are, they because you throw the Catholic Church in there, and
Yeah,
because of that, a lot of people believed it.
yeah.
And the greatest time I had with all of that with Dan Brown was somebody interviewed a Catholic priest, or he may have been a bishop in Rome,
Mm.
and he said that Monty Python and the Holy Grail knows more about this than Dan Brown does.
Yeah,
You know, and I had to
yeah,
agree with it.
yeah.
You know, because
Oh yeah. I mean, I take Dan Brown for what it is, a piece of fiction that has no place in history. All right.
but he claimed to be he made claims about being an expert about this stuff.
Yeah, well, he wasn't. However, you know the key they use, that I can't remember the name of it, where you have to line up all the letters or numbers correctly
Yeah.
to
Uh-huh.
um Da Vinci created that. I actually own one of them. I built one. I learned how to build locks. Don't ask me why. It was something I had to do for work. But yeah, I actually built one, and oh my god, that was the hardest thing I built. I mean, a Yale lock, do it with one hand tied behind my back, but those, whew. But yeah, no. As I said, if you take Dan Brown's books as just pure fiction, they're a good read. However,
Yeah.
if you're a lunatic that thinks it's true, then yeah, I feel sorry for you, because the Catholic Church is right. Monty Python knew more about it than anyone else. And there's always, and I didn't mention it because the Vatican basement has, we don't know. There could be the Ark of the Covenant, the Holy Grail could be down there, the Destiny of Spear, you name it, whatever could be down there, because no one knows what's down there.
Now, the Spear of Destiny, that was well, that's not the original one. That's not the real one anyway. That Hitler supposedly stole from the Austrian
Ah,
museum.
yeah, no.
I don't
And
think they know where the real one is. Actually,
isn't that the knife that stabbed Jesus?
well, it was a I forgot what what the Romans called it, the javelin that they had,
Yeah.
and the story goes that it was they that those three. Oh God, I knew that each one of them had a title, but the head guy, the exact I think it's exacta mortis, which was the head, the chief one, he was the one that pierced Christ, so he would die quicker. They wanted,
Yeah.
it was getting late. They wanted to go home. They couldn't leave until all three of them, all three of those executed were dead. And so that spear is supposed to be contain powers for
Yeah.
by
Yeah.
that. So,
Because it pierced Jesus's skin. Yeah. Well, I thought I'd end on the Bible stuff because it's far more interesting than anything in
yeah.
England or Europe. So,
But here's the thing about a lot of that stuff. If an invading army, which I mean, Jerusalem had been invaded several times. Okay. I mean, and the earliest goes back to Babylon with Nebuchadnezzar destroyed that city. They would have taken that stuff
of course they would.
and they probably would have melted it down for the gold. That would the
Do you think they would be idiotic enough to do that to the Ark of the Covenant, though?
I don't know. that is that that nobody could touch it but Aaron.
Well, yeah, I mean,
the chief priest. So
yeah.
See,
so do you have another American treasure?
Okay, well, not an American, but a real pirate.
Yeah.
The infamous pirate Edward Teach, more commonly known by his pirate moniker Blackbeard.
Oh, and I didn't know that was his real name, Edward Teach.
Yeah.
Okay.
Blackbeard was an English pirate who operated in the West Indies and along the eastern coast of Britain's North American colonies during the 18th century. He is perhaps the most well-known pirate of all time, with his imposing appearance and daring exploits on the high seas becoming the stuff of legend. Despite his fearsome reputation, little is known about Blackbeard's early life, but he may have worked as a privateer during Queen Anne's War before turning to piracy. Blackbeard's most famous ship was the Queen Anne's Revenge, a former French slave ship that he captured and outfitted with powerful cannons. After a brief but successful career as a pirate, Blackbeard was killed in a battle with the British Navy in 1718, cementing his status as a legendary figure in pirate history. Also, one interesting thing, he's the guy that supposedly put fuses in his beard and lit them when they were like capturing a ship to to scare people.
That wouldn't have done his beard very good once they'd run down.
Well, I don't know. These guys were nuts,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the Royal Navy has been around an extremely long time.
And that's who got him.
E.T., because Blackbeard was an alien. I like that.
Okay, E.T.
Yeah.
I get it now. So.
Yeah, Christy says Hitler was into mysticism and believed that Christian relics would give him power. Absolutely. He sent people out all over the place to find all these different things. Well, he was a nut job. Him and who was it you said?
Himmler. I think it was more Himmler than it was Hitler, because Uh, oh, yeah, him. I mean, he was really, really like Himmler was really like into all the Aryan theories about Aryans and
Was he the one that wore the stockings and suspenders?
oh, you mean that was God,
Which one was
that
that?
the fat bastard.
Yeah,
They wore women's clothing.
yeah, underneath his uniform.
Yeah, the Luftwaffe guy.
Yeah,
Goering,
I'm sure words will come up within a sec.
Hermann Goering.
Goering, that's it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but see, that was yeah, Himmler was really the really big nut job when it came to stuff like that. I mean, he had a castle his ultimate goal was there was this big room in this castle. It still exists. It was going to be a big ass round table there, and higher ups. He imagined this elite of the elite group of Aryan Nazis, and they would meet in that castle and sit around that round table, so many times a year, and do all kind of, whatever. In fact,
Well, considering Nazis, it would have been something very evil and nasty. I'm sure.
I mean, the just it, History Channel, and well, they're probably all on YouTube now. There are quite a there are several documentaries,
Yeah, there are on the Nazis and
and here I mean,
biblical treasures and things. Yeah.
I think a lot of it, a lot of that was influenced that Himmler, was doing. A damn chicken farmer, okay, of all things, coming up with this crazy ass shit.
Well, I've learned a lot about American pirates. Thank you.
Yeah,
And I learned a lot about my own lost treasures because it's not something I've ever looked into. Thank you, Words.
Yeah.
For all that research I had to do.
Yeah. Words. Thank you for the link. Okay.
Yeah.
You're more adept at this stuff than I am.
Well, Words also wants some sciencey things, so we're going to be working on that over the next probably couple of Sundays. We just need to know what we're going to be talking about.
Well, see, that's more your bailiwick than mine.
Well, yes, but I mean, Words have said, we could look at science fiction as science and torture me into working out if it would ever be conceivable. And then the other one was what we have today and how we could get around the universe and things like that. I don't know if anyone wants a talk on that. By all means, in the chat, let me know. Give me a 1 for a yes, 2 for a no would be nice. If not, we'll come up with something else. We don't want to bore you guys. A 4, Deej.
Okay. We got Dandelion says.
Yeah, thank you, Dandelion.
Deej, which is damn. What the hell are you doing? The 4.
Yeah, he's just being awkward.
Yeah.
Oh, Jeff's a yes as well. How about famous disappearances? That's a good one. We can put that on the list as well,
Yeah.
Christy. There are plenty of Sundays left. Till World War III breaks out, you know. Ghost ships. Yeah. I think we covered a couple of those in the we did four Sundays of paranormal, and we broke them down, and we did some of the ghost ships already. Sorry, Dandelion. You can go back and watch them, I know.
Yeah.
I have a book full of unsolved mysteries. Are these the unsolved mysteries that you committed and no one's found out yet? It's all those hikes and camping on your own. Were you on your own? Eh?
Yeah. Okay. So. Yeah, we've got a lot. We've got a lot. We.
Sorry, Dandelion's answer's great. I can neither confirm or deny. Brilliant. Yeah, I mean, there's loads of things to cover. I mean, I would love to do Jack the Ripper story for you. You know,
Yeah, that
one
would
time
be
that
cool.
would be a good one. And maybe we could cover serial killers in general, because he was a serial killer, and you know, you've got some absolutely horrific serial killers over there. No, Ripper, not stripper, dear. Yes, says Christy. So there's lots and lots of things we do. H. Holmes, yep. Oh God, yeah, yeah. That's a good one. Yeah. I mean, there are absolutely loads of those we can cover. So you're up for the science bit? That would be one episode, maybe two, depending on. I don't want to drag it out and it be boring. Monkey mash stream. There are no monkeys welcome here, ever. But yeah, we serial killers, and famous disappearances is another one. So I'm just going to jot these down, guys, because then we've got them. Because Christy's up for the science, so we'll thank God for that. Okay,
science that can cover so much.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Serial killers, missing people of interest, famous missing people. Yeah, serial killers. Jack the Ripper. I want to put in Jack. Missing people. Oh, the Bermuda Triangle. That's a good one. Teach.
Oh, we didn't do the Bermuda.
Yeah, we didn't. I'm writing it down. Bermuda Triangle. There is another one as well. There is another triangle. I'll look it up. I saw on a documentary 2 weeks ago about it, and it's just as weird as the Bermuda Triangle. So I'll look that one up. So thanks, guys. You've been every time we ask for ideas, we never get them, but today you're full of them. Brilliant. As I say, we can cover any topic you like, anything. Nothing is restricted.
Yeah. Devil's Triangle. Well, we got that one, Jeff. Bermuda, same difference.
Yeah. Aw.
Did you do top 10 monsters?
Monsters? What? Fictional or cryptids? Because we did the cryptids, didn't we?
Well, we haven't done. Yeah, Oh yeah, we have not really done like fictional monsters.
Fictional. All right, I'll add it to the
Yeah.
list. Fictional
Even though we did
monsters.
talk about like Bigfoot, Nessie, and the
Yeah, I mean they're cryptids. They're not fictional monsters. They're
uh,
cryptids.
well, to me
Well, yeah, okay.
they're fictional, but
Yeah, okay. I do separate them slightly.
oh yeah,
Yeah, Jeff, the Devil's Triangle and that's the one I think. Hang on, where did I put Bermuda? Yeah, I'll add Devil's Triangle. Devil's Triangle. There we go. I've written it down, Jeff.
and the what now? Devil's Triangle is in the Pacific. No, no,
I'll look it up.
that's always been another name for the Bermuda Triangle. At least, as well, we're going to have to go back and look at some of my documentaries back in Groovy Movies. I've got at least two that talk about the Bermuda Triangle or the Devil's Triangle.
Mm. Right then. So, well, I've got a list here. We'll sort out what we're doing next.
Yeah.
And thanks everyone for tuning in. You guys are fantastic.
Oh yeah, I totally agree.
And so engaging with us. And it's brilliant.
Yeah, thank everybody. We're going to close this up now. We've been going almost an hour and 40 minutes.
Yeah. It goes so fast, doesn't it?
What about strange bunny people with mutated crotches?
Aw.
Okay.
Oh, I've got a cat wrapped around my leg right now. My pussy is playing with my leg.
Oh
thank you, Christy. And thanks, words. Fun, entertaining, and informative. Yeah. Thank you. Say hello to my package. I can't do it like Bird did.
So,
yeah, everybody, have a great weekend. The rest of your weekend, everyone. It's night here for me, so.
And well, tomorrow's a holiday here, so.
Oh yes, it isn't for me. That was last Monday. Was our bank holiday.
Oh,
yeah.
Too bad. They only line up on Christmas and Easter.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah. But anywho, this has been fun.
It's been lovely.
I hope everybody learned something. Remember,
I did.
I'm the total skeptic here about a lot of stuff.
We get into like... I do have an open mind, though. I'm one of these people that, I find all these things very intriguing.
Yeah. I used to when I was a kid in the 70s, but I've grown up, read a couple of books, so now I know better.
I don't know. I'm not a kid, but spending 3 months in Egypt, immersing myself in their history was just the start of it all for me.
Yeah. So okay, Dandelion Fluff. She's skeptical as well.
I think people should be skeptical, but I also think an open mind doesn't hurt.
Yeah. So anywho, until next time, ladies and gentlemen, for Yvette, this is Mr. Lundale saying, have a good rest of your Sunday. Have a good Labor Day. God bless you all. Until next time, we're out of here.